Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dave Kerner, serving as County Mayor here in Palm Beach County. We're located at the Emergency Operations Center on day 227 of our Level 2 activation here at the Emergency Operations Center related to our COVID-19 operational response here in Palm Beach County. We wanted to convene a quick press conference so that the members of our community could hear directly from those elected officers in charge of ensuring the safety and security and integrity of our elections. We also wanted to give you a brief update on the COVID-19 resurgence here in South Florida and really throughout the state and throughout the nation, and put some context to where we're at in that regard. We're going to have some really good speakers today at this press conference. It will be short, but the content is important. After I'm done here opening the press conference, we'll hear from our Supervisor of Elections, Wendy Link, who will give us some detailed information on voter intimidation and how it's being prevented and how your right to vote in this county without intimidation and with the certainty that your vote will count will be addressed by our supervisor. We'll then move to our State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg, who will also comment on some of those similar issues and how to report to the police in intimidation issues or any other problems at the voting polls, along with notifying the Supervisor of Elections. We'll also hear from Dr. Lena Alonzo. We're all very familiar with her, Department of Health, Palm Beach County Director. She'll give us some technical updates and some data on where we're at with the COVID-19. And then, of course, we'll close with our Incident Commander and County Administrator, Ms. Virginia Baker, who's going to give us an update on the CARES Act. So at this time, and it's my honor and pleasure to invite to the podium our Supervisor of Elections, Wendy Link.
Yeah.
That's right. Good afternoon, and we're excited because we are right now about 5 days out from the election, and so we're very lucky. Everything's been going really quite smoothly. We have already had over 51% of our voters in Palm Beach County have already voted, so about 51.7% right now. We had 348,000, of course it continues to grow, but right now 348,418 vote by mail ballots have already been returned. If you still have yours and you're going to be mailing it in, I want to remind you as you're filling it out, please be sure that you're being very careful with your votes. Make sure you read the instructions. All of the candidates are vote for one. So when you're overvoting on these, then it's not going to count. So if you vote for more than one candidate where it says vote for one, then the canvassing board's not going to be able to accept that vote. So make sure that you're taking care to do your ballot just so. Of course, when you're sending it in, before you send it in, make sure that you're signing it, okay? We really need to make sure that your envelope has been signed. All right, our mobile van units, we want you to remember that we've got 25 of them positioned across the county, and that we've been very successful with those. We had, I think our first day we had almost 11,000 ballots dropped in the vans. It's been dropping a little bit each day, but we have a lot of excitement about that. People are excited when they come up. They can usually just drop it off without even getting out of their car, many of them, and others they don't have to get out of the parking lot. So it again keeps some of the crowds away as we're talking about COVID and ways that we can keep people spread out at the polls. So we do have 29 total places that you can drop your ballot, and that's between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. now through Sunday, November 1st. So the 29 places are our 4 offices, plus our early voting locations, plus 7 additional locations or 8 additional locations that we have vans at. So on our website at pbcelections.org, we have that information about where those vans and those early voting sites are. So don't forget the 24/7 drop boxes are at our offices, the 4 main offices that we have. Those drop boxes are 24/7. Those are manned with video surveillance, as well as we have either one of our staff workers, and then at night we have the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department staying over. We've hired them to make sure that those ballot boxes are secure so that you can have full confidence dropping your ballot into one of our secure voting locations. Remember, you can drop at those locations until 7 p.m. on election night at our main office and until 5 p.m. on election night at our 3 other offices. Also, at this point, we're pretty much reached the point that we are not going to recommend that you drop things in the mail anymore. If you decide you're going to mail your ballot, it is postage prepaid, but so get it in as quickly as possible. We've been recommending 7 to 10 days is what we would recommend for you to get that ballot in. So we do have, like I said, 29 places that you can drop it. And the biggest thing to remember is it doesn't matter when it's postmarked. It does have to be in our office by 7 p.m. on November 3rd. If you have already voted your vote by mail ballot, don't forget you can track it on our website under the My Status button. So by state law, we can't count the ballots until election night, but we are processing them. So once your ballot comes in, we are checking for voter history. We're checking to make sure that your signature matches, and then we are every day opening them, processing them, putting them through the tabulation so that they are being actually processed on election night. They'll be counted, and that's what your tracker is going to reflect as well. If it's blue on the tracker, it says received and it continues in blue, you're good, and it's going to be counted on election day. If it shows red, then that's when you need to make sure that you are going back and fixing that. So we're good for that. It'll tell you what we need to do. We've had about 179,000 people already vote at our early voting locations. And so this is our final weekend. We go from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day through this Sunday. So after Sunday, on Monday, the early voting locations aren't open, so make sure if you're going to go that you're going to get there. We do have different groups. I know, I think the Urban League is offering some free rides through Ride to Go to get to the early voting locations. I know the county and Palm Tran are doing on election day free rides, so you're going to be able to get to your polling location if you need to. You can also remember that on election day, you have to go to your precinct. On early voting, you can go to any of the 18 locations, but on election day, it's really critical that you only go to your precinct. We do have the COVID-19 safety protocols in place. Each of our polling workers is going to take their temperature in the morning before they start. They fill out the COVID questionnaire to make sure that they haven't been exposed to anybody, aren't waiting for a test. All poll workers will wear masks. We also have provided them with facial shields if they'd like to wear those in addition, but they'll all be wearing a mask. We have gloves available. We have masks available for voters. We also have gloves available for voters. We have laminated our secrecy sleeves so that we're wiping those down. The pens, you can always bring your own pen, but we also have pens available to you for you to keep so that you're not reusing pens. Of course, the social distancing is key. We have that taped off, and that's indicated in English and Spanish, our 6-foot social distancing. So we're trying to do a lot. The plexiglass shields will be there. So you should feel safe and secure coming to vote in our location. And just remember, there is still a mask mandate in Palm Beach County, so we are asking everybody to wear your mask. We do get calls all the time what if I have a medical reason that I can't wear it? Obviously, there is an exception in the order for that, and we're going to honor that. We're not going to stop you from voting. But we just ask if you are able to please do wear your mask, even if it's just for the few minutes you're going to be there. We also want to say that voting, you have the right to vote, as was mentioned earlier, without being intimidated and without being harassed. And most people are doing a really good job with that. But we do have a few people who are trying to be intimidating and who are harassing people at the polls. We are taking swift action on that as we learn about it. We are going to make sure that that 150-foot barrier is being respected. Also, we're going to, if even outside that 150-foot zone, you don't have the right to harass anybody anywhere on the site. So if you're intimidating voters and doing things, and we've heard about that, then we will call the sheriff's office and they will respond. They'll respond, they'll take care of business, and then they'll leave again. So we're not looking for full-time sheriff's presence, but we are going to do what we need to do to make all of our voters feel safe. And so you should know that that's something that we take very, very seriously, and we aren't going to tolerate it. So if you do see something, feel free to make sure you call our office, make sure you let the site supervisor know, and if it's something that's very bad, by all means, you should go ahead and call the police yourself. So if you have any questions about anything that's going on between now and the elections, again, pbcelections.org is where we want to point you to. Early voting sites that are the busiest right now, we've got Gardens, Jupiter, Wellington, some of those are our busiest sites, but don't forget, you can go anywhere. So Belgrade's really not very busy. We have Wells, it's because it's a really large location. They've got a lot of capacity. So does Delray Beach Community Center has capacity, West Palm Beach City Hall. So make sure you're checking the website. It shows the early voting wait times, and we're going to be able to get you in and get you out, hopefully without too much of a line. So with that, I know we'll be happy to take questions after this. And now I'm going to return to Mayor Kerner.
Thank you, Supervisor Link. We know that democracy is in full force and effect here in Palm Beach County. The election is ongoing. I can tell you, Supervisor Link, that I voted at the early voting site at West Palm Beach City Hall. I was in and out within 5 minutes. So please look to the early voting sites to make sure that you get your vote counted if you're not sure that you're going to be able to vote on voting day on November 3rd. And also, if you've requested an absentee ballot or a vote by mail ballot and you've received it but you haven't returned it, of course, you can still return that in person, or you can go vote in person as well, as long as you don't turn in 2 ballots. And as Supervisor Link noted, the integrity of the voting process and your right not to be intimidated or harassed is a central part of democracy. And so the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Bradshaw, our State Attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, and our Emergency Operations Center folks here at the county, along with the Supervisor of Elections, have been working day in and day out on detailed plans to ensure the integrity of the voting process. And in that regard, it's an honor to call to the dais our State Attorney, Dave Ehrenberg.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney. I'm honored to be here with you today. And I know we're going to get an update on COVID from Dr. Alonso. But as someone who's gone through it, I just hope that no other family has to experience it. I had a relatively mild case back in July, and it still was no fun. So I urge everyone to wear a mask because it's to protect you and others. And we're in the middle of another wave of this, and it is, it's a time where we have to look after each other. And the best way to prevent it is through this, a mask. I also voted early, like Mayor Kerner, at that same location in West Palm Beach, and I have to compliment Wendy Link because her team did an outstanding job. They make sure that all protocols are followed. They have the plastic barriers up. Everything is sanitized. They even give you your own pen to fill out the bubble, so you don't share a pen with anyone. So voting is safe. Voting is a responsibility for all of us, really, a civic responsibility. So I encourage everyone in Palm Beach County to do so. If you have an absentee ballot because you didn't want to vote in person, it's now seen as too late to send that in via the mail, so you either drop it off at a drop-off box, one of the locations that Wendy mentioned, or you can, as David Kerner said, take it with you to the poll, early voting or on election day, and exchange it for a ballot. But don't vote twice, because that would be a felony, as well as voter intimidation. That's also a felony. Sheriff Bradshaw and I put out a statement just a few days ago to emphasize the fact that we want the fairest election here in Palm Beach County, and we want everyone to feel empowered to vote. It's a bedrock of our democracy. One person, one vote, and that vote should be free of intimidation. And if you believe that you're being intimidated at the polls, or really as you're walking up, and it doesn't have to be in line, it can be anywhere at the polls, someone is trying to intimidate you, or if you get a threat like that alleged Proud Boys email that went out that looks like it was traced back to Iran, those are the type of things that you want to report to law enforcement, because voter intimidation is a felony. If you're at the polls and you believe you're the victim of voter intimidation, then you also want to report it to the poll workers. Now, you will not see law enforcement officers at the polls, because that in itself would be a form of voter intimidation, and so they are not stationed at the polls. You have to call a poll worker, and you call law enforcement, they will respond. So that's just something that people, if you're looking for a police officer at the poll, you will likely not find them. You'd have to call them on your own or go through the poll workers. But we want to make sure, and Sheriff Bradshaw and I have talked about this, that there is no voter intimidation, no voter interference in Palm Beach County. People have the First Amendment right to campaign. They can, engage in political activities as long as it's 100 feet outside the front door. It can't be within 150 feet, excuse me. But it crosses a line when it becomes voter interference. You can yell things at a poll, say vote for whoever, but if you're targeting one individual, that can be voter intimidation. Finally, I wanted to mention that the clerk's office, another constitutional officer here in Palm Beach County, whom we work with, Clerk of Courts Sharon Bach, and her successor, Joseph Abruzzo, they're going to be, at least Sharon Bach, in November, operating Operation Greenlight. And the website, I think, should be on the screen, where individuals who have outstanding moving violations, outstanding tickets where they're unable to get a license because they are ineligible, you can pay your fines in full during the week of November 16th to 20th, and all the collection fees will be waived. That's a special 1-week period where you can get your license reinstated and get all the collection fees waived. It's from November 16th to 20th, and it's on the Clerk of Court's website, mypalmbeachclerk.com. If that applies to you, this is a great time to do it, because we want our streets to be safe. We want everyone to be licensed and with insurance. So let's all make sure Palm Beach County is as safe as it could possibly be. Let's keep looking after each other, and let's get through this election, and I think we will. So thank you all. I'll bring up the Mayor, David Kerner.
Many thanks to our State Attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, and his investigators and prosecutors that work diligently to ensure our right to vote and keep our communities safe at large. And I couldn't have put it better than our State Attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, but I wanted to first tell you that the Sheriff Bradshaw was planning on being here, but due to some commitments to meet with the Secret Service, he's not able to be here now. He wanted me to deliver this message. I mentioned earlier that the county, the supervisor, the State Attorney, and the Sheriff's Office are working together on detailed operational plans to protect the integrity of the voting process. But he wanted me to relay to the community that he wants to offer this as a precaution. There will be no tolerance for behavior that does not fall in line at the polling locations and within the obligations that we have as American citizens and members of this community. We talked in length and some detail about voter intimidation and harassment. The Sheriff's Office is ready, willing, and able to respond to enforce the integrity of this election. At the same time, there's passions. This is a passionate election. There's a large voter turnout, and it's happening in a pandemic. It's happening in the midst of some very difficult times that complicate the voting process. And so we wanted to make sure that we talked about some of these issues and where we're at as a community. And it goes farther than just the election. Obviously, there's a resurgence that's occurring throughout much of this nation. And I wanted to talk very briefly about the way that the metrics in this county and throughout the state have gone up over the last couple of weeks since the economy is fully reopened. We'll start with the first slide. As you can see to my left, since 14 October 2020, you can see that there's been ups and downs, but the overall aggregate increase is very clear when we're talking about positive cases by day. We can go to the next slide, which should be daily lab positivity. Also, trends are starting to creep up. We've been very well within the safe zone that the state and the CDC and the White House would like to see community at in terms of daily positivity rate, and that again measures the amount of COVID-19 within our community. But over the last couple of weeks, the rate has gone up. On Thursday, October 15th, we were at 3.31%. Then it's gone up to 5.54 about a week later, as high as 8.28%, which is getting very close to that 10%. It's above the 5%, which is not a good thing, still below that 10%. And then yesterday it was at 5.76. So really, while there's a large resurgence going on throughout the United States and in communities individually, each community and their actions will dictate just how far that resurgence goes. In this county, as we've noticed and been very thankful for, the members of this county have complied on their own accord with the need to wear a mask in public. Our state attorney mentioned that earlier, that this is our salvation. I don't think there's any dispute about how important this piece of cloth has become in our response. And when we talk about why this community was able to weather those initial stages of the COVID-19 pandemic so effectively and so safely, it was because of the willingness to wear a mask in public. And we see that compliance and we see those actions go on still today. When I go out in the community, I see masks being worn everywhere I go. And that's a wonderful thing. And we appreciate your participation in that. Is there another slide, Lisa? And one thing that we emphasize over and over again, we're going to hear this from Dr. Alonso, is stay safe, remain vigilant, avoid the 3 C's, closed spaces, crowded places, and close contact settings. We're going into Halloween, we're going into Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and there is COVID-19 fatigue, and we recognize that. We feel it the same way that you do. But these simple instructions, the 3 C's, avoiding closed spaces, crowded places, things of that nature, we've learned how to do that. It's important that we maintain that vigilance as we move forward into those family settings where we find a lot of the COVID-19 spread occurs within close, intimate family occasions and parties, and we all have the desire to want to be together with our family, but as we go into Thanksgiving, as we go into Halloween, let's remain vigilant so that we can ensure the prosperity of our economy here in Palm Beach County and also the public health first and foremost. So at this time, it's my pleasure to invite to the microphone Dr. Alina Alonso with the Department of Health.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today, and thank you, Mayor, for inviting me to speak today. Wendy, I can only say nice things. I went to vote on Tuesday. Everybody was wonderful. There was a young man there that was his first time voting, and I asked him if he'd give me the honor to have a selfie with him, and he did. He was very proud, and I was very proud of him. So this old lady took a picture with a young millennial. Yeah, it was great. I felt great. So, we have seen increases in our daily cases. A few weeks ago, we had come all the way down to about 100 cases per day. We were really singing the praises of everybody. Slowly, those went up to 147, 187, 200s, and these last few days, we've been 358, 359, 274. So our daily cases are going up. So it's not panic. We don't panic in Palm Beach County. We use caution, right? So I want everyone to pay attention to what we've been doing. We have had 4,150 hospitalizations. That's 13 more hospitalizations for us, and 1,580 deaths in Palm Beach County. We've had 12 new reported deaths. Remember that those deaths will be put into the actual date of deaths. Everybody is happy that we have no hospital surge and that our deaths continue to go down daily. That is true, but that is because people have been complying with our masks, with our social distancing, and avoiding the 3 C's, including sanitizing, washing your hands, and please, everybody that can, you also need to get your flu shot, now more than ever. Our daily positivity, you're going to see it wavering up and down. And one of the reasons that we want to be at least 5 instead of being at 10 is because when it goes up and down, we want to maintain it below 10. And we want to keep it around 5 because that's where we can do effective contact tracing. That's when we can quickly go to the next person, find out who their contacts are, and then be able to quarantine that individual for 14 days. If you're asked to quarantine, that means you and your household need to stay home for 14 days. People are going in contact with somebody and immediately getting a test. That's not going to do you any good. Why? Think about it. You need at least 5 to 6 days to develop enough virus in your body for the test to detect it. So you really should not test for at least 5 days after you've come in contact with someone who is positive. So if you're asked to stay home and quarantine, don't run off and get that test until at least the 5th or the 6th day. Now, if you're having symptoms before those 5 days, then you can get tested because then that means that the virus is acting in your body. That's also a good time to get tested. And so why do we say 14 days and 10 for the individual? Because 14 days, it's been shown that people could get positive as late as day 14. 90% are going to be, by the 8th day, 90% of the people are positive who really are positive. So keep those things in mind. If you have any questions about that, I am always available at the EOC. We have our line here, our medical line at the EOC. The EPI department is always available, and those numbers are up on our websites at floridahealth.gov. That's all I'm going to say for now, just that I really want everyone to stay doing what you've been doing. With the holidays coming, we're going to see a lot of those people that are coming from very hot spots. There's 26 states right now with increased cases, with hospital surges. They're out of nurses, they're out of doctors, and they're out of equipment. So these places are having very bad difficulty. Let's keep at least Palm Beach County safe by following the rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alonso. And we're going to have an opportunity to ask all the officers that have spoken today questions moving forward. But I did want to follow up on some of the points that our illustrious Dr. Alonso made about COVID-19 and just back some of that up with some updates very briefly, and then we'll get to our county administrator on testing in Palm Beach County. Executive Order 2020-29, which extends the mandatory facial covering. Executive Order 12 remains in place, so it is still mandatory in Palm Beach County to wear a mask, and obviously it's a best practice. Testing, there are 4 antigen rapid testing locations in the county at this point. The FAU Tech runway testing site in Boca Raton offering drive-up rapid testing is open Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon, no appointment necessary. If you want to get an antigen test, which will show very quickly with a high level of accuracy whether you're infected with COVID-19 or not. Also, Town Center Mall in Boca Raton, antigen rapid testing open 7 days a week, 9 to 5. Walk up, no appointment necessary. 3 testing sites are in addition to the 15 ballpark in West Palm Beach, rapid antigen testing. Again, an Abbott product with no appointment necessary. You can drive up Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the FIT team. That's our spring training facility. They're off of 45th. Beginning Friday at Lakeside Medical Center in Belle Glade, antigen testing will be available. You can walk up between 8 a.m. and noon Monday through Friday. For specific details on rapid testing and all the testing options in Palm Beach County, please visit pbcgov.com. Again, that's www.pbcgov.com. It's now my pleasure to invite to the podium our County Administrator and Incident Commander, Ms. Virginia Baker.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for being here. I will reiterate what some of our previous speakers stated, and that's to vote, vote, vote. Wear your mask, distance yourself from others, lather up, and avoid the 3 C's. It's important. We want to continue to have our business open and expand. We want people to be able to work, but we also want our residents safe in Palm Beach County. And our residents have been excellent about working with us and ensuring that they wear their mask, and we're going to continue to work together in our community to keep our residents safe. I want to talk a little bit about the programs that we have used our CARES dollars for due to the fact that people have been laid off. They're just getting back to work, and so they're catching up on their bills. The Board of County Commissioners allowed us to set up a mortgage assistance program. To date, we have distributed roughly about $6.3 million to 988 homeowners in Palm Beach County. Phase 2 of the CARES Mortgage Assistance portal remains open and will continue to accept applications until Monday, November 16th at 11:59 p.m. This grant will provide homeowners with up to 6 months of assistance with a maximum award of $10,000. This grant will help residents avoid losing their homes by paying their mortgage, escrow payments, and condominium or homeowners association fees. Please do not wait. Go in, apply online, and submit the appropriate documentation. We do not want our residents to become homeless because of COVID-19. The mortgage assistance program can be accessed, as I previously stated, online on the county's Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability website. That website is www.pbcgov.com/HES. If you go to our main webpage, you'll be able to access that particular program. In addition to our mortgage assistance program, we have our rental and utilities food assistance program. And to date, we've distributed $9.5 million to 7,845 homeowners. Please do not wait. The program portal is open now and will be available as long as funds are available. The portal can be found at www.rentalassistancepbc.com. Again, if you go to our main webpage, click on COVID-19, that will take you to the appropriate link. The program provides a one-time rental and utility assistance eligible Palm Beach County resident who has experienced loss of income, reduction in hours, or unemployment as a result of COVID-19 pandemic only. This assistance is made available through CARES dollars. CARES dollars is the federal program. That particular program requires it be linked to COVID-19, and we will ask you for that appropriate documentation.